short rundown of what we just learned. It's a sikha of the Lubavitcher Rebbe about the tragic story of the scouts, the spies, the Meraglim. All the Jewish people got out of Egypt. They received the Torah. And God said, now go into the land of Israel. So Moses got this idea. The people had an effect on him a little bit. So he got this idea that we'll send in spies to the land of Israel. They'll survey the land, and they'll decide what is the best way to go in and conquer and take over the place. So he sent in these spies, and they came back, and 10 of them, there was one spy for each tribe, and 10 of the 12 spies came back and said, we cannot go into the land of Israel, it's dangerous, it's a big mistake, don't do it. And everybody was convinced. They were all convinced. And they said, okay, we're not going in. So the Rebbe asked the obvious question, which was asked by a lot of other commentators, how could it be that these 10 men convinced all the Jewish people not to follow what God said and not to go into the land of Israel? It's a promised land. God is going to give them, this is the whole purpose. They're going to go out to the land of Israel, the Holy Land. And they're not going to go in. What the sense does it make? So the Rebbe explains in a very short way. He asks a lot of questions, but he explains like this. What was really the considerations of the Jewish people? What did they say? They said, now we're here in the desert. And in the desert, God is providing everything for us. He's providing us food from heaven. He's giving us water. He's giving us protection. He's giving us security. God himself is doing all these things. And why? So we can sit and learn the Holy Torah. And that's what they were doing. Now, when we go into the land of Israel, now we're going to the land of Israel, it's not going to work anymore. God says that he's not going to protect us anymore with clouds of glory. We're going to have to fight our own battles. God said he's not going to provide us water anymore. We're going to have to dig wells. God said he's not going to provide us manna from heaven anymore. We're going to have to make our own food, kill our own animals, grow our own wheat. They said, therefore, we don't want to go into the land of Israel. Go in the land of Israel, it's going to be a big distraction. And more than anything else, it's going to be a big distraction from our service of God. We're going to have to be thinking about ourselves all the time. Where's food going to come from? Where's water going to come from? How am I going to protect myself against my enemies? And we don't want to do it. Says the Rebbe, that was their big mistake. God wanted them to go into the land of Israel in order to transform the land of Israel, land of Canaan, to be a holy place. That's the job of the Jew. To be in this world, to meet up with difficulties, and not to be affected by the difficulties, exactly the opposite. That we can transform the difficulties into holy things. By how? By being calm. By being calm. By letting the world... Torah. No, must be Torah. That by making the world into a holy place, that the world should not have a negative effect on us. Exactly the opposite. We should have a positive effect on the world. How do we do that? By being calm and then waiting for God to help us. God will help us. He'll send us the right ideas. He'll help us in all sorts of interesting things. We'll meet the right people. We'll get the money that we need. We'll get all the... God will take care of us. God takes care of the Jews. He took us out of Egypt, provided us for money. Now it's going to be a new way of providing for us. He wants us to make the vessels. We have to be in the land, we have to work, and then we'll see bigger miracles. And really, the miracles that happen in the land of Israel, the miracles that happen in nature, are even miracle greater than the miracles that were in the desert. All right, now we are on page 26. Let's see if we get this over here. Here we are. Okay, there we go. Ready? Here we are. All right, here we have this revelation. of godliness in the world. Was there ever such a thing like that when God was revealed in the world? Yes, there was. When?
When he gave the Torah.
When he gave the Torah.
Also when he spoke to Avram Avinu.
Avram Avinu, yes, but that wasn't in the whole world. That was just to Abraham. Nobody else could see it. When he gave the Torah. When he split the sea. And in a permanent way, when there was the Holy Temple. When there was the Holy Temple, there was the Holy of Holies. And in the Holy of Holies was a revelation of the essence of God. And that's what we can make. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Page 26. It's not important. It's not important. I thought you should come in earlier, but it's not important. Okay? Shalom. Gilui ze haya be'ikri be'kodesh kadoshim. This revelation of God. And what happens when God is revealed? What does everybody feel? Everybody feels, hey, we're creations. We're being created. We're so lucky. Everything in the world is a big miracle. God is creating everything. Wow, the world is such an amazing place. And we have a big obligation to God. God really puts a lot of trust in us. We have a really, very important job, and every moment is brand new. Every second is an exciting surprise. Right?
Right.
That's what happens when you feel godliness. Gilui zeh, this revelation, Haya was be'ikar b'kodesh kadashim, was in the Holy of Holies. Sham Haya hachibur, there was the joining, shel makom, between place, ula ma'ila mil makom, and above place. World and above world. Makom ma'aron, like it says, the place of the ark, shehaya medud v'mugbal, b'midat ha'aron, that the ark that contained the tablets that Moses got on Mount Sinai, that was all there was in the Holy of Holies. And this ark was an ark. It was built. It had measurements. It was amatayim v'chetzi arko v'ama v'chetzi rochbo. It was 2.5 amas long and 1.5 amas wide. Hayahu atzmo eno min amida. It was in the Holy of Holies, and at the same time it didn't measure anything. The whole entire Holy of Holies was 10 amas wide, and when they lowered someone down to measure it, right, they would measure from one side of the Aron to the wall, and it would be 10 amas. It would be 5 amas. For the other side of the wall would be 5 amas. So there was no measure. Okay, let's calm down. Hayahu atzmo eino min amidav. So the ark was there, and it wasn't there at the same time. Lo tafas makom kolal. It didn't take up any place at all because shikadashim in the Holy of Holies. Hayakan chibur shel makom im beli makom keachad. If so, we see that the ark was there and it wasn't there. On one hand, it had a measure. It was made. It was made by Bezalel, and they made the ark. And the ark had to have certain measurements. If it didn't have those measurements, it wasn't kosher. It wasn't fit to be put in the Holy of Holies. It had to be exactly made to measurement. But nevertheless, when it was in the Holy of Holies, and it was there, and it contained the tablets, if you measured from one side to the wall, and then the other side to the wall, it ends up that was the whole entire measurement of the room. So it is, Ukadesha B'nai Yisrael. That's what you feel when you go to the Holy of Holies, when you go to the Holy Temple. You feel you're there, and at the same time you're not there. You are there in the world, here I am, and at the same time, how am I here? What am I made of? Godliness. The whole thing is a big miracle. God is making me from nothing every second. Incredible. And what do you do when you feel this? I have a tremendous responsibility to God and to the world to make this world a better place. I'm here for a reason. I'm not just here just to appreciate being here. I'm not a flower or an animal or a plant or something. Rock. No, those things are just here. Human beings have this thing called responsibility. That's the essence of a human being. That's the biggest gift of all that God gives us. And a person suddenly feels, wow, I'm so lucky I have a responsibility to do what God wants. Ukadein, in order, B'nai Yisrael, that the Jewish people, Yivatzu Davar Zeh, in order that the Jewish people should reveal this unity in the world, Haya Aleim Likanes LeEretz Yisrael, they had to go into the land of Israel. B'midbar, when they were in the desert, things were easy. Haya Nagala Ma'ila Miyatava, everything was miracles. Aval Be'eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel, things aren't going to be so easy anymore. That's when the work starts. Nature and above nature. Yachdav. It's like when they're in, the Jews were in the desert, it was like, you go to medical school. So you go to medical school, and then sometimes they even bring a cadaver. You can do an operation, you can see how the things are, but there's no blood and there's no life at stake, and it's not a tense situations. As you got to quick bring this thing, or the guy's already dead, the cadaver. He's already, he's not going to, his blood pressure is dropping, right? And his family is there, and the people are worried, and right. In medical school, everything is clean. Everything is clean. Everything is easy, but it's perfect. It's perfect. You read the books, you remember what's there. It's perfect. You get into the real world, and all of a sudden there's all these weird challenges and disappointments and frustrations and split-second decisions that you have to make, that weren't there in medical school. And you get all dirty. Right? You get all dirty, there's all this blood all over the place. It's terrible, right? The people's lives are at stake. And the same thing, the Jewish people, when they were in the desert, it was like being in medical school. They were like in college. Everything was perfect, beautiful, pristine. All the wonderful ideas they had about the world and what to do. But as soon as they got in the world, it wasn't so easy anymore. Right? The world is full of temptations. It's full of frustration. It's full of things that are, scare us, that threaten us. That was why the Jews were put into Israel, exactly to be in these difficult situations and to transform them. That's the reason why B'kiyas Yarden, when the Jews went over the Jordan River, in the beginning, when they went into the land of Israel, they went over the Jordan River. It says the Jordan River split just like the Yam Suf split. Hayata al Yedei Aaron. It says the ark went before them. Kadei ki hi matzut be'eretz Israel. The whole essence of the land of Israel, the Holy Land, and the whole idea of the ark are one thing. Namely what? Above nature, joining above nature together with
Hashem.
Hashem is above nature.
With the Jewish people.
With the Jewish people, they're the ones that join it. We're supposed to join Hashem with the
nature.
Very good. Excellent. We're so happy you came back from Shabbat. Vav. Ubakach. So now, Tuvan, we can understand. Gam Lashon Tshuvato Shel Kalev. What Kalev said to the people. The people said, we don't want to go into the land of Israel. We're not interested at all. Oh, very good. Very good. We're not interested at all in going into the land. Maybe you can open the door a little bit. It could be that there's no noise there now. Or at least a little bit. Yeah. A little. You can put the there we go. Excellent. Now we can understand why Kalev, I think we did this yesterday. Kalev said to all the Jewish people say, hey, we're not going in. We don't want to go in the land of Israel. It's too scary. And what did Kalev say? Let's go in and conquer it. Why didn't he convince them? He should have said, listen, we're strong, God is with us. Remember the miracles God did with us. Why did he just say, let's go? This expression that Kalev said, Ale nale, let's go up, and conquer it, Mora al shtei sugim shonim shel aliyot. It's talking about two different types of elevation. Okay, now what is this idea of elevation? What does it mean, elevation? Let's take the utmost worst example. A person that he's an addict, or he's in an alcoholic, he's in the bars all the time. That's like as low as you can get. What does it mean, low? He lives a world that's only thinking about himself. There's nothing above him. There's no God, there's no spirit, there's no soul, there's no meaning, there's no values. Nothing above him. Whatever is in his little mind, whatever was yesterday, whatever feels good, that's him. That's called being low. What does it mean called being up, higher? Right? Somebody comes into the bar and says, let's everyone give money to the orphanage, the local orphanage. There's little kids. Hey, get away from me. Let them take care of themselves. He brings a few of these little kids in. These kids are orphans. He looks at the kids. Says, okay, you know what here? Take $10. Everybody says, you gave $10 to something. You're not thinking about yourself. He says, you know what? Take 100. Take 100. All of a sudden, he elevated himself. That's called an elevation. He's not thinking about himself so much. He elevated himself, and now he's living according to certain values. Help others. Help other people. And then maybe he starts thinking, maybe I should if I would have children of my own, maybe I should get married. You have to take care of a wife. You have to take care of a children. Too much. Can't do it. I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah, a higher value. And then the higher from that value, he thinks not only just my wife and my children, maybe I'll take care of society. Maybe I'll help others. Maybe a higher value. Maybe it's a value to be honest. Maybe that's called raising yourself up. That's called an elevation. Elevation. For a person to start thinking, hey, there's a creator of the universe and he cares what I'm doing, and I'm going to do things only for him. I don't care what he does for me. Heaven, hell, makes no difference to me. I'm not even thinking about that. He's good. Whatever he wants to do with me, he can do. I'm going to do for the creator. Oh, that's an elevation. That's called an elevation. Just like this person in the beginning was only thinking about himself. The less that you think about yourself and the more that you really, truly get joined to true values, that's called going out of yourself. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. Says that's what Kalev said to the people. You're not going to go into the land of Israel because you're selfish. Aleh naleh. Let's go up. You have to get 2 elevations here. You people are at least 2 levels below 0. Shekain, they have to have 2 aliyahs. Number 1, v'lo shtei aliyot b'sug echad. It's not just 2 elevations of the same type. You become a sophomore in university in mathematics, and then after that you become a junior, and then you become a whatever it is, what is it called? A senior, yeah. Ella, what's the first? I even forgot what it is. Anyway, the 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th. Shekain im aliyah hashenis, hashniya, higam misug aliyah rishona, uberka. Because if the second elevation is like the first elevation, like I said before, this guy in the bar, he gives $10, then he gives $100. No, it's the same type of thing. Hari nichlalas yadayin b'aliyah rishona. It's still on the same level. He's not thinking about himself. He's thinking about somebody else. It's impossible to call it a double elevation. That's what Kalev said to the people. You're going to go up. It means 2 different dimensions of elevation. Aleh naleh, go up. It means 2 different types of elevations. That's what Kalev said. Shebabo l'Eretz Israel. You Jewish people, now you're in the desert, you're learning Torah, you're holy, you're going to go to heaven. Everything is all set up, no problems. It's not what God wants. He'll give you go to heaven, no problems. There's opinions that the Dora, the Dora Midbar Yeshlam Chelek Olam Haba. They have a place in the world to come. Yagiu l'sug alei chadash. It'll be a whole new type of elevation to a new dimension of meaning in your lives. Lo rak aliyah me'al hateva. Not just that you're going to be above nature like it was in the desert. Ki im gam me'al lamayla me'ateva. You'll be higher than above nature. So, okay, I made a little mistake. In the desert, they were 1 degree above 0. He said, don't stay there. In Judaism, you have to always elevate yourself more and more. A person who is satisfied with his spiritual level is a very bad thing. That what it says of who is that person that's happy, a person that's satisfied with what he's got. It's talking about physically. If you're satisfied with what you've got, you're a happy person. Right? You have a small house. You have you only have the 3 children. Your next door neighbor has a big house. He's got 20 children. Right? You make $5,000 a month, and he makes $100,000. Be satisfied with what you got. Be satisfied. You should work for more, but if you don't get more, don't be disappointed. Be satisfied. But not so in spiritual. In spiritual, you should never be satisfied with what you have. Never be satisfied with what you've got. You should always be striving and striving for more. You should be bitter if you're on a lower level. Of course, you always have to be happy that you're serving God. It's true. But the level of your service of God, the level of your love of God, the level of your fear of God, the level of faith in God should always be increased more and more. You should never be satisfied with it. It's like a doctor. Doctors, genuine doctors. Talk about genuine doctors. Genuine, true doctors, they're always reading these journals that are coming out all the time in order to learn new methods of healing and new methods of treating people and new attitudes that there are toward health and toward operations, right? Not because they'll make more money, or because they're really interested in healing people. Right? It says the same thing. You Jews in the desert, you're thinking about God, but it's in a very limited way. You have to never be satisfied with your level, and that's what's going to happen in the desert. You're going to be satisfied. A Jew has to always be constantly elevating himself. You have to learn Torah. You have to not forget that the Torah is God's Torah. And at the same time, you have to go and do good deeds. You have to pray. You have to get charity. You have to continue higher and higher and higher. And all those things can really only be if you're in the land of Israel. You have to meet difficulties. You have to meet challenges. And that can only happen in the land of Israel. Therefore, God got very angry at the Jews for not going in. But they had good motives. Their motives were good. Their motives were, we don't think we can take the challenge. We don't think that we have the ability. We want to be close to God. We don't want to get tripped up by the world. Best of intentions. But how do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.